Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. Season 3 Reloaded is here today and I bring you everything that's going to impact MW3 multiplayer ranked play. It's going to include things such as a 6-star Hardpoint Overhaul, AR nerfs, AMR9 and Renetti Buff, a trophy system nerf, and a massive change to a bunch of perks. Before we get into those details, there's a couple of things I want to quickly mention. The gameplay we've got in the background is a Crimson gameplay, and it's by far the best sub-based game I've managed to obtain to date, so it's definitely worth a watch, even if you're not here for the patch notes. It's also got a very intense ending, so as I say, it should be just a generally decent game for you to guys chill out and relax and enjoy. Secondly, I just wanted to apologise for the lack of uploads recently. I think it's been over a week. Slap on the wrist from me. I apologise for that. We're back to the normal groove, so hopefully you should see some consistent content coming through in the near future. So enough with the boring bits and bobs, let's get into the details. So first things first, there are new 6v6 maps, Grime and Checkpoint. Grime is a fairly decently looking map. It looks comp viable. Obviously I haven't played it myself, but it's got good hardpoint locations. It's a 3-lane map. There is a little bit of water, which is I'm always not a fan of generally, unless it's one of the 3 lanes. But yeah, looks okay. It's medium size, looks good. I hope they consider it for competitive, and at least I hope they trial it in ranked play just for a weekend, perhaps just to see how it fares and people's general opinions on it from that. Checkpoint is the second map they're going to add this for Season 3 Reloaded. It's essentially, if you guys have played Rebirth Island, it's essentially the checkpoint, the stronghold portion of the Rebirth map, right at the bottom of the map, in the middle of nowhere. It looks small, and I really doubt it will be considered for comp, but let me know your thoughts. Personally, I do think Grime's the only one that may be considered, and that's if it's not too late into the season. Obviously, the pros are going to have to play it, but in any case, I think it'd be nice to trial it just to see if it's appropriate for a ranked play. Now, as we go through this list of things I want to mention in the patch notes, you can feel free to follow me along. Down in the description below is a link to the patch notes, but I obviously am going to only be focusing on the things that relate strictly to ranked play. And of course, let me know your thoughts. If there's anything you slightly disagree on my opinion on, drop it down in the comments. I do like a little bit of a discussion, and it's always interesting to hear differing thoughts down below. They've also added a new AR called the BAL, which is from a previous Call of Duty. Shout out if you know which one it is. And that's basically can be unlocked by the Battle Pass. But personally, I don't think it's being comp. Every single DLC weapon they've added in the game since launch sort of has been rejected from it. They did a little bit of a test last in the middle, a couple of weeks ago now. But I do not think the BAL will be in it. So we'll move on swiftly from this. Now, this is going to be quite interesting, but they've changed the spawns in all of Hardpoint. Now, essentially, word for word, what they've said is, in Hardpoint, increase preference for spawns further from enemies and nearer to spawn points recently used by a teammate. So essentially that means they'll be a little bit more sticky. They'll prioritize spawning where your team have just spawned rather than, putting you in the mix a little bit. So the game might play a little bit slower, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier to spawn trap from what they've said. Obviously, we'll see how it translates into actual real gameplay when we get it through. Now, moving on to 6-star Hardpoint. Now, they've changed 4 of the 5 hardpoints on this hill. P1 is in the same, it's in the club. P2, however, is the other side of the other side, I can't remember, there's like an aquarium. Like the other side of the aquarium is basically in the garden area on this map here. P3 is in Lightwell. Personally, really crap. I do not like this hill. It's literally got a big bit of cover in the middle, and that's pretty much it. You're going to have to really play out this hill to get good hill time on here. P4 is Infinity Pool, and then P5 is Insecurity. So personally, I don't think this is a needed change. I do think they needed to change the pool's hill completely, or made it smaller, or changed its position slightly. But generally speaking, I'm not too pleased with the change. I think it was fine how it was, bar one hill. The only thing that I do like what they've done to 6-star personally is they have changed the doors. So the doors in Security were transparent, you could see through it, but you couldn't shoot through it. But they have said they're making it opaque so that you can no longer see through it, and therefore it can be used as a little bit of cover, break LOS or line of sight and things like that. So that's a good change, I think. But yeah, of course, when these new spawns come through, I will be doing a spawn guide, so make sure you've got notifications on, then you are subscribed to be the first to know the spawns when it does drop. Now, looking at Hardpoint and spawns, they've added a new spawn in P3 Karachi. They haven't said where it is yet, but I will do a video on it, even if it's a really short video on it, just to see if it's really greatly different, and just so you guys have that in your knowledge bank, so it's, you do know about it. So that's all they've really done to the maps that are going to impact ranked play. They've done a little bit to other maps, but it's obviously ranked play, unrelated to ranked play. It's just other maps in the map pool generally. But they've significantly Now that we're going on to the MCW nerf here, they've significantly increased the hipfire spread by 23% on the MCW and the rest of ARs, and they've also increased the moving hipfire maximum by 6%. So essentially what this is doing is, it's an MCW nerf. It will hopefully mean that the rival wins more close range gunfires. The amount of times I'm in a gunfight at fairly close range with an MCW and it just hit fires me, all 5 bullets hit and I'm insta dead, it happens way too often. So I'm interested to see how that'll impact the gameplay. I think that what they did to back that was they basically looked at KDs for different guns at different ranges, and they feel like the MCW and the ARs generally were performing too well at those close ranges. So hopefully that's going to change that and make it a little bit more viable to run a sub even at those really close ranges. Now moving on to the subs, the rival remains untouched completely. However, we are seeing a buff in the AMR9 which might make it a little bit more viable, interestingly. Essentially what they've done, they've put better damage figures all around and increased the low arm and hand damage multiplier to 1.1, which should basically mean in short terms it should just hit harder overall. Now a bunch of other subs have been nerfed, but none are allowed in ranked play, so realistically if you're a rival user you're not going to notice any difference. You're still going to beam at those silly ranges and out damage or out time to kill the MCW at long range. But in fact, your close range gunfights against the MCW will be a little easier from the MCW nerf. We've also got a buff on the Renetti, which is interesting. They've basically increased the movement speed by 4%. So every single time you sprint or tack sprint or even strafe, you're going to be moving 4% quicker. So it's even better than the knife now as the mobility weapon of choice. Not a requested change, but it is what it is. Fine by me. I don't oppose it. I'm not overly happy with it. I don't really mind. Is what it is. Now they've made massive perk changes. They have buffed a bunch of boots considerably, but I'm wondering will they be enough to mean no covert sneakers on ranked play? Personally, I don't think it is. I think there's a lot of sound whoring on ranked play, and I believe that covert sneakers is the only counter to that. But we'll see what your thoughts are. Let me know once you've heard this all. So first thing first, climbing boots have been removed completely and will now auto apply no matter what boots you choose. So basically, climbing boots meant you could climb and mantle far quicker and you'll have reduced fall damage. Those choice of boots are gone, but now by default you will climb and mantle quicker and have reduced fall damage. So that's a big plus. A little bit more standard default mobility I'm never opposed to. The all-terrain boots have been added in place of the climbing boots, and it will basically significantly increase movement speed but disables tack sprint. Now lightweight does similar, but you can still tack sprint. So I imagine, without obviously trying this first, I imagine it will be essentially quicker than lightweight, but not quite as fast as tack sprint. Otherwise, there would be no point in lightweight, unless I'm completely misunderstanding this. Obviously, let me know if I'm making a huge balls up here. But generally speaking, I think it's going to be a really quick way to move around the map without having to tack sprint, which is the only. To be fair, I'm quite interested in. I'm interested to see how that plays. I will be testing it out. They've also buffed the running sneakers to basically mean that the sprint to fire time has buffed it by 25%, which is huge. That's a massive. That's a quarter of the time they've reduced it by. And then stalker boots are even more powerful to use when strafing. Far more steady now. It's just a little bit more reliable to hit your shots when you are strafing with stalker boots on. So they're the boots. There's been a couple changes to the gloves. So first things first, we have commando gloves. And essentially what they've done is they improved the sprint to fire speed by 10%, and you can also now cancel reload by tack sprinting, which I think you could do that in the settings anyway with like a specific setting. You can cancel reload by sprint, and I think, so I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is, but I guess it saves you from doing that. But personally, commando gloves I probably still won't be using. The only thing I do like is the fact they've changed the assault gloves. So I use the assault gloves on my SMG class. It basically means jump shotting's a little bit more reliable. The accuracy maintained whilst jump shotting is better. And what they've done here, they've improved the hipfire spread while moving by 15%. So that's a fairly considerable buff to the assault gloves, which means you're going to be a little bit more accurate when you hipfire with the gloves equipped. Now, the final thing, which I can't believe is in the patch notes, is they have nerfed the trophy system. The trophy system used to block 3 projectiles, so it basically meant in order to clear 2 projectiles, you needed 3 of your team to... in order to completely destroy 2 trophies, you needed to, 3 of your team needed to throw each of their utilities. So you and 2 other teammates had to throw both a stun and a nade to get rid of 2 trophies. Now they've essentially nerfed it by 33%. You only need 2 throwables to completely destroy a trophy system, which basically means that only you and one other teammate need to throw both your nade and stun to destroy both of those trophies. So personally, I didn't see a problem with trophy systems. They're obviously looking at some sort of stat, which means that, suggests people are overusing them. But personally, especially for ranked play, nades and stuns will be even more annoying than they are now, and I find them really annoying now. So it's not going to be great, but perhaps they'll get some, feedback from us players, and they might revert it back. Who knows? So that's pretty much it. So we'll go over it very briefly, but obviously if you have any questions or you want to know even more detail, you can pop a question down in the comments, or the link to the patch notes in full are down in the description. But in short, we've got 2 new maps, one of which may be used in comp. New spawns on 6-star, generally stick your spawns overall in Hardpoint. New 6-star overhaul completely, so all the hills have changed BAL 1. Significantly nerfed all the hipfires on the ARs, which would impact the MCW. Potential new meta in the AMR 9. Renetti Buff, which means you can move quicker, and an overhaul in the perks with the gloves and the boots, and then finally a trophy system nerf. Let me know your thoughts as always, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Ciao for now.
Maze. Fully just lost us the game. The enemy has taken the lead. Use your cruise, bro. Use your cruise.
Oh man.
It's GG that.
No, it's not. It's not. I've got a cruise. I've got a cruise.
Have to use it now.
Two. They're in the rat room. They're in the rat room.
Nice.
They're coming from their side. All their side, Joe. All their side.
One shot. Got headshots on me.
Hear me out, Joe. Go new.
One more.
No, top new. Dead.
Come on, top. No, one more.
I'm just out again.
We can hold for 3.
They can't win here. Go new. Oh, they're on you, Joe. They're on
we win
you.
off of this shit.
One shot.
Nice.
Come on.
Go.
Mate, I don't know what's going on, but my MCW is not
Go for it.
I'm literally like shooting first.
It's because you got billeted. I'm promising
That crew
you.
was going to be massive. I didn't even realise he had one. Good thing you called that out.
What?
Was it you had the cruise, yeah? No, it was Harrz, I think. Yeah, it was Harrz, mate. I didn't even realise he had a cruise.
GG's fellas. That was fucking intense. Holy fuck.
Yeah,
36. I'm hard stuck.
Yeah, I got 21, so.
Yeah, but you did go 18 and 30.
Yeah. So what is it they use? Is it T4?
So I'll give you my class.